This is Abe Lincoln. The medium through which I speak has physical needs, urination. So the vessel through which I communicate with you is going to be kind of unstable, so I'm going to do this really quick. So we're talking about the second group, the cast of characters in this epic tale I'm about to tell, and a little about how they interact with each other. So these are those who wish to escape the prison system. Alright, you got these violent guys, but you also have some people that are mixed up in other stuff. So you gotta get your bail bonds, paying your debts to society. Remember that? Remember how they say that? All crimes are financial. Alright? And you're gonna have to look up a little. You gotta do your Black History Month research. This guy has a lot of stuff to listen to and read. You have to decide for yourself when you check it out. If he doesn't like white people very much, so try to keep an open mind if you're if you're not really of Nubian heritage. All right. Anyway, what's the deal with bail bonds? Why bonds? They're a financial instrument. Do you know what securitization means? Well, we get into this whole business about the straw man, how you interface with the system once you have your people trying to seek relief from the prison system interacting with the law school dropouts and the patriots and the scam artists and the people who dealt with the financial thing. There's a whole big thing that you gotta unravel that we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna get into all this stuff. Carl Miller is another name that you have to look up to research in order, if you want to debunk any of this stuff. You gotta look up Carl Miller first and try to debunk him. There are two courts. There's a court of equity and a court of law. The criminal court is based on common law, and the way we do it now, I mean, if you go to the founding documents, they've been amended or reinterpreted over the past 200 years through something called case law. You go into a common law court today, you go to a criminal court and you start trying to talk about the Constitution and stuff, they're going to laugh at you. They're going to be like, yo, you have to read up on 200 years of case law before you can argue anything about the Bill of Rights. I mean, if you don't believe me, look that up in itself. I mean, that's a whole other thing, how the Bill of Rights has evolved, or, you know, just, or how our rights have eroded, depending on how you look at it. And these two ways of thinking about it is going to be part of the way they're going to divide us. Whether you're going to divide us like that, or whether you're going to divide us like that. Purpose of this video is to get you to see that there is no division. Well, there is a division, but we don't have to fight about it. We can coexist. I'm not going to... Anyway, I have a huge thing at the end that we're going to get into about... let's say you're not a violent criminal. Let's say you've done nothing wrong, and you actually go to jail because maybe you were getting... I don't know, let's say you didn't... Your bail bond thing didn't work. You know, there's a lot of things that can get you in jail that don't have an injured party. There must be an injured party. But anyway, we have you can get into all this other stuff that we're going to get into when we integrate what we learn from the other groups, what people who wish to escape from the prison system, what they learn when they go on the internet and they start reading stuff by these other groups and interpreting that, and they may or may not try it in court. Some people go to jail, and while in jail, they file frivolous liens, or maybe come up with technologies for people on the outside. Some paper terrorism. We gotta talk about paper terrorism at some point. There's a guy, Roger Elvick, who is a big inspiration to the law school dropouts and the scam artists. That we're going to get into this guy a little bit later. I would consider him to be a religious extremist, because it's spiritual, the problem, but I'm going to get into that in the end. But anyway, there's a lot going on with people who are trying to deal with the prison system, and this is what brings us to your relationship with the state. A lot of people trying to escape the prison thing get into this stuff, and this opens them up into a whole realm of other topics, which I'm going to talk about in the end. Here we have a person. This is a natural person. It's a living flesh and blood body. And here we have the system. We have a advanced network of several things that is going on. How do you interface with the system? The system is an abstract entity that now is mostly digital, I guess, but it's built upon the foundations of banking. Remember, every crime is financial. You have to learn something called securitization. Your birth certificate is a bond. It's printed on security paper. It's bonded. Remember, like, kind of like in the same way an inmate is bonded, and government officials are bonded. You're bonded to the system. Your way of interfacing with the system. People on the ground call this your identity, but it's more specifically your juristic person. The respectable conspiracy theorists will refer to it by artificial person, and the conspiracy nuts and this we'll call it the straw man. Well, okay, so you get this group, we'll call it the identity. This group, we'll call it the straw man. This group will identify with it, but this group understands that all it is a database entry that represents the natural person in the system, and you use this to interface with the system, because the system doesn't exist in God's territory, and God doesn't exist in this mess. It says, "In God we trust," on our dollar. It also has one of these on the dollar. In God we trust. In God we trust, you say. You have to look up the banking definition of trust. We're going to get into this. So, those who wish to escape the prison system start Googling stuff, they start getting on the internet, and they find some of the things that apply to the foreclosure and credit card people. They also get a lot of garbage from scam artists. They get a lot of good info from well-meaning patriots that possibly might be irrelevant now. Hopefully the religious extremists don't get to them. The law school dropouts might be able to buy them some time, but they also piss off a lot of government officials. And I'm not really going to talk about this Illuminati just yet, because I think everything that you think you know about the Illuminati was really just put there to distract you. I'm not saying that we don't have a small group of people controlling everything. I'm not saying there is no Illuminati. It's just that the Illuminati isn't exactly what you think it is in terms of its role in this game of Earth that we're playing. I'm starting to sound like a religious nut. I'm going to get off of that for a little bit. We're still talking about... I'm just introducing this group who has a role to play in this parable that is going to save the world, if you will. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for an introduction to scam artists.